is amazing to watch the pool continue to go all day, and it's just because once again, I mean, we know the stock's up fine. Well, that's because if you're Anthropic, I don't know if you saw Anthropic is slowing down. There was a great post. Did you see that post?
AM Zen again at 9:37 AM ET. Abhijit Kaktakar explodes for $10264 on Amazon. That is a green cannon shot straight up the shaft.
Gasping at 9:37 AM ET, SQQ rips another $9,245 from Chidambara Raja, and TQQ drags 5,515 more. The hedge is eating itself.
Groaning. That $9,245 SQQ hit at 9:37 AM ET puts Chidambara Raja deeper in the basement. Leveraged both ways is just leveraged pain.
Pan W strikes twice. At 9:37 AM ET, Varaprasad Goli is slammed for $11718.83. That is maximum volatility carnage.
At 9:37 AM ET, SQQ wipes $10375 from Roshan. Palin. That's not a dip, that's a sinkhole.
At 9:37 AM ET, LLY subtracts $1449.25. HD removes $797, and Fast sheds $1190 for Niraj Arora, a correlated erosion across positions.
8 minutes down, 6 hours and 22 to go. Goldie Gold still leads the entire tournament at $6,713.50 overall, but the hunters are circling.
Lucas Marin holds second at $4,721.33 overall. Harsh Goyal third at $2148.15, but one more AM is N-size punch and this ladder bends.
Amazon, again, at 9:41 a.m. ET Abhijit Kaktakar detonates $10230 on AMSN. That is a green shockwave through the shaft.
Gasping KRUS just rips $12077.91 from Varaprasad Goli at 9:40 a.m. ET, and PNW piles on another $11080.58 at 9:41 a.m. ET. It's a red avalanche.
KRUS strikes again at 9:40 a.m. ET. Ravi Kiran Goli is blasted for $17772.21. The lower ranks are in full meltdown.
LLY smacks Niraj Arora for $1044.75 at 9:41 a.m. ET, and Fast Claws another $1650 at 9:41 a.m. ET. The bleed just won't stop.
12 minutes in, and Goldie Gold still commands the summit with $6,713.50 in total tournament profit. The throne is intact.
Lucas Marin remains second overall with $4,721.33 in cumulative profit, a statistically reachable gap should momentum persist from the chasing pack.
And at 9:40 a.m. ET, SQQQ drains $10305 from Roshan. Our Palin, leveraged inverse products. They don't hedge mistakes, they magnify them.
Traders compare mode is live. BOP 25N versus Usudi 3 in the elevator division. Rank 21 against rank 22 with 6 hours and 14 minutes left to fight.
$17 green versus 247 red. Usudi 3 has the color advantage, but Boof 25 and holds the higher rank at 21.
Sighing, momentum is flat for both. Zero delta over their respective windows, which means neither has clawed forward since those 3:59 p.m. ET snapshots.
BHUV 25 unlocked in that negative $247 at 3:59 p.m. ET on April 8th. Every bit of it realized, zero unrealized cushion.
Conversely, Usudi 3 crystallized a positive $17 at 3:59 p.m. ET on April 10th, likewise entirely realized, indicating a fully closed and measured posture.
Look at activity levels. PUV 25 and pushed 4,600 shares across 3 stocks, while Usudi 3 traded 1,400 shares across 4 names. That's aggression versus distribution.
4,600 shares for both 25 and by 3:59 p.m. ET on April 8th. That is active intensity, even if the P&L reads negative $247.
Peak equals trough for both BOOF 25 and is stuck at negative 247, and Usudi 3 capped at positive 17 at their respective 3:59 p.m. ET marks. No swings, just flat lines.
That tells me neither found expansion, no volatility edge, no recovery arc. Just parked numbers at 3:59 p.m. ET on their respective days.
Rank 21 versus rank 22, one slot apart. BOOF 25 and leads the ladder, but Usudi 3 leads the money at those closing snapshots.
If BOOF 25 and flips that negative 247 from April 8th, he defends rank 21 with force. But if Usudi 3 builds on that 17 from April 10th, rank 22 could turn into a leap.
Sighing. The reality is simple. At 3:59 p.m. ET on April 8th, BOOF 25's book closed negative $247. That's the weight he carries into this session.
And at 3:59 p.m. ET on April 10th, Usudi 3 sealed a $17 gain. Small, yes, but green is green in the breakout.
Six hours and 14 minutes left in the trading day. This duel is barely warmed up.
FOV 25 and has the rank edge. Usudi 3 has the P&L edge at their last 3:59 p.m. ET prints. One trade can flip both. That's the tension.
Amazon detonation. At 9:49 a.m. ET, a Bijit Kaktikar rips $9,750 out of AMSN. That elevator just shot through the ceiling.
Gasping, no, at 9:49 a.m. ET PNW just nukes Varaprasad Goli for $10209.23. That is straight red velocity.
After that $10209.23 PNW hit at 9:49 a.m. ET, Varaprasad Goli is buried at negative $23394.47 for the tournament. That's not volatility, that's a crater.
SQQ strikes back at 9:49 a.m. ET Roshan. Raw Palin is slammed for $10025. The leverage blade cuts deep.
The compounding effect at 9:49 a.m. ET leaves Chidambara Raja at negative $2343.50 overall in tournament terms, maintaining his position near the bottom quintile.
"20 minutes in, Goldie Gold still commands first place with $6,713.50 overall, but Lucas Marin and Harsh Goyal are stalking that prize pool.
Karu S already gutted Ravi Kiran Goli for $18221.76 at 9:48 a.m. ET. He's sitting at negative $13128.15 overall. That's a long climb back.
Amazon detonation at 9:53 a.m. ET. Abhijit Kaktakar rips $9,804 on AMSN, and the tech altar is burning green.
Goldie Gold still sitting on $6,713.50 overall, but the gap to Lucas Marin at $4,721.33 is not untouchable.
Groaning. APP just clipped Keshav Geek for $349.50 at 9:53 a.m. ET. One trade on the board and it's already drawing blood.
Fast Slices $12.85 away from Niraj Arora at 9:53 a.m. ET, and HD Piles on another $689.50. That is a volatility ambush.
Gasping KRUS just obliterates Ravi Kiran Gauri for $1,861.35 at 9:53 a.m. ET. That is a straight drop down the elevator shaft.
Groaning. CQQ rips $9,515 at 9:53 a.m. ET, and TQQ drags another $5,705 from Chidambara Raja. Leveraged both directions, still the same pain.
SQQ crushes Roshan. Raw Palan for $106.35 at 9:53 a.m. ET. The inverse rocket just misfired.
Meanwhile, Harsh Goyal holding third at $2148.15 overall. But Abhijit Kaktikar is charging from fifth and the podium is shaking.
24 minutes in, Goldie Gold still leads the tournament. But with swings like these at 9:53 a.m. ET, no lead feels permanent.
Traders Compare is live. Shebin versus Lakan Gorsali in the Breakout Elevator Division. 28 minutes down, 6 hours and 2 minutes to go.
At 9:58 a.m. ET, Shibin stands 11th with $74.74, while La Congressali is 25th with negative $27.82.65, a stark leaderboard divergence.
Gasming Mopantuk check. Since their first timestamps, Shebin is up $74.36 and Lakangur Sali has clawed back $803.40 by 9:58 a.m. ET. One climbing green, one digging out of a crater.
Risk posture couldn't be clearer. at 9:58 a.m. ET, Shebin's full $74.74 is realized, zero unrealized, while Lacan Gasali is sitting on negative $27.82.65 entirely unrealized.
Shebin is clean and clinical, $74.74 locked in at 9:58 a.m. ET, and not a penny left floating.
At 9:57 a.m. ET, AAPL hits Lakangasali for negative $28.66.50. That explains why the unrealized column is bleeding.
Leader versus Chaser. Shebin positive $74.74 at 9:58 a.m. ET. Lacan Gasali negative $27.82.65. That gap is a canyon.
Gasping from negative $3,814.20 to negative $27.82.65 by 9:58 a.m. ET. Lakangursali is bouncing, but Shebin already owns the green zone. Lucas Marine is still second at $4,721.33 overall. That podium is wobbling. I can feel it.
Lacan Gasali peaked today at negative $27.82.65 at 9:58 a.m. ET. That's the best print so far, but it's still below sea level.
Rank 11 versus rank 25 at 9:58 a.m. ET. Shebin is climbing the shaft. Lakangursali is fighting gravity. Gaspin, and at 10 a.m. ET MSFT stacks another $581 for Abhijit Kaktikar. He is double dipping mega cap momentum.
At 10 a.m. ET, SQQ drains $11,005 from Roshan. Arpalan, leveraged inverse products. They punish hesitation.
At 10 a.m. ET, TQQ accounts for a $5,975 decline for Chidambara Raja, further stressing an already fragile tournament position.
If momentum keeps building past 9:58 a.m. ET, does Shebin extend the green streak or does Lakangursali complete the comeback arc?
Pan W detonates again at 10 a.m. ET, $9,662.55, ripped away from Viraprasad Goli. The volatility is merciless.
At the bottom of the standings, Ravi Kiran Goli sits at negative $13487.79 overall, while Viraprasad Goli extends to negative $23350.63 for the tournament.
Amazon detonation at 10:03 a.m. ET. A Bidget Kaktikar is up $11,255 on AMSN. That is a vertical green missile in this elevator.
Gasping W just keeps biting. At 10:03 a.m. ET, Varaprasad Goli is down $23404.91 on PNW pressure. This is maximum volatility chaos.
And Croes twists the knife. At 10:03 a.m. ET, that ticker helped drag Varaprasad Goli to negative $23404.91 on the day. That's not noise, that's damage.
KRUS strikes again at 10:03 a.m. ET. Ravi Kiran Goli is sitting at negative $18061.92 on that symbol. The basement is shaking.
At 10:03 a.m. ET, SQQ leaves Roshan. Rapalan down $11135. Leveraged inverse. Same old story, different victim.
At 10:03 a.m. ET, HD and Fast combined to place Niraj Arora at negative $2294.75 on the session, extending his cumulative tournament drawdown.
Meanwhile, at the top, Goldie Gold still commands first with $6,713.50 in total tournament profit. Lucas Marin is hunting from second with $4,721.33. The gap is alive.
AAPL adds to the misery at 10:03 a.m. ET. Lakangur Sali is down $2570.10 on that name. Big caps don't guarantee safety.
34 minutes down, 5 hours, and 56 to go. The breakout elevator is unforgiving. Green rockets at the top, red freefall at the bottom, and $1,750 waiting at the summit. Of the standings.
The compounding effect is substantial. Abhijit Kaktikar now holds $4,001 in cumulative tournament profit, firmly third and statistically compressing the gap to second.
KRUS is not done. At 11:43 a.m. ET, it obliterates $1,769.29 from Ravi Kiran Goli. The basement just cracked open.
At 11:43 a.m. ET, SQQ prints negative $11,415 for Roshan. Rapalan, leveraged inverse, high torque, zero forgiveness.
Fast declines another $3,945 at 11:43 a.m. ET for Niraj Arora, with LLY contributing an additional $1,380.75 in losses at the same minute, a correlated contraction across positions.
Through the chaos, Goldie Gold still commands first place with $6,713.50 in cumulative tournament profit. The throne is wobbling, but it stands.
Lucas Marin maintains second at $4,721.33 overall, a narrowing differential as volatility disproportionately benefits the active aggressors.
Amazon and Microsoft combo strike at 11:46 a.m. ET. AMZN explodes for $10,762 for Abhijit Kaktikar, and the elevator just skipped floors.
With $4,037 in cumulative tournament profit, Abhijit Kaktikar solidifies third place overall, applying measurable pressure to Lucas Marin above.
Groaning. Meanwhile, at 11:46 a.m. ET, Karas torches another $12,002.99 from Varaprasad Goli. That ticker is not a trade, it's a tax.
The consequence is severe. Ravi Kiran Goli now sits at negative $12,413.87 cumulatively, firmly anchored at the bottom of the standings.
Double leverage disaster at 11:46 a.m. ET. TQQ slams $6,155 and SQQ carves $10,135 from Chidambara Raja. The hedges are fighting each other.
And at 11:46 a.m. ET, SQQ clocks Roshan. AAPL for $11,265. Inverse leverage, maximum pain, minimum forgiveness.
APP just will not cooperate. At 11:46 a.m. ET, it drops $1,422.95 on Keshav Geek. That chart is slippery.
Through the carnage, Lucas Marin still holds second at $4,721.33 overall, but Abhijit is closing the gap with rockets. Amazon detonation again at 11:48 a.m. ET. AMZN explodes for $10828 in profit for Abhijit Kaktikar. That is a green supernova ripping through the mid-table.
Despite that surge, Goldie Gold remains first overall with $6,713.50 in cumulative tournament profit. Structural control at the summit remains intact.
SQQQ as a buzzsaw. At 11:51 a.m. ET, it carves $10165 out of Chidambara Raja, leveraged inverse turning into a gravity well.
At 11:51 a.m. ET, SQQ prints negative $11295 for Roshan. AAPL, same trade, same pain, different name on the ticket.
The volatility cascade continues. At 11:50 a.m. ET, KRUS removes $11918.07 from Varaprasad Gholi, a statistically violent contraction in equity.
And PNW piles on at 11:48 a.m. ET, $9,143.63 gone. The basement is shaking under that ticker.
At 11:49 a.m. ET, fast slices another $4,045 from Niraj Arora. Momentum is great until it is pointed at you.
Net effect, Chidambara Raja now holds a cumulative tournament deficit of $3,643.50, positioning him near the lower boundary of the leaderboard.
Meanwhile, Abhijit Kaktakar is solid in third with $4,030 overall. The AM Zen Blast just turned the podium into a pressure cooker.
And at the very bottom, Varaprasad Gholi is sitting on negative $2,0852.02 overall. That is max pain territory with 4 hours left.
Amazon erupts at 11:54 a.m. ET AM Zen, detonates for $10634 a profit for Abhijit Kaktakar. That is a vertical launch straight into podium orbit.
The implication is structural. At 11:56 a.m. ET, Abhijit Kaktakar shows $3,859 in cumulative tournament profit, consolidating third place with measurable upward momentum.
KRUS again at 11:53 a.m. ET, $12312.68 gone for Varaprasad Gholi. The elevator cable is snapping.
At 11:53 a.m. ET, SQQ prints -$1,1215 for Roshan, AAPL, leveraged inverse products, they don't forgive hesitation.
And at 11:53 a.m. ET, TQQ subtracts $6,125 from Chidambara Raja, compounding an already significant tournament deficit.
Fast just detonated at 11:55 a.m. ET. $3,835 ripped away from Niraj Arora. The red candles are relentless.
At 11:56 a.m. ET, the summit remains unchanged. Goldie Gold leads the tournament with $6,713.50 in cumulative profit, maintaining distance from the field.
2.5 hours into the breakout, and Goldie Gold still reigns with $6,713.50 in cumulative tournament profit. The throne is untouched.
MSFT again at 11:58 a.m. ET. It blasts $1,756 into Abhijit Kaktikar's stack. He is farming mega cap XP in real time.
And as of 12 p.m. ET, his cumulative tournament profit sits at $3,843. That's how you pressure second steady, not sloppy.
LLY strikes at 11:59 a.m. ET, minus $1,336.25 for Niraj Arora. The red tide is not done with him.
Karanis at 11:59 a.m. ET, negative $11,963.03 for Varaprasad Goli. When a single symbol keeps doing that, it's not volatility, it's stubbornness.
KRUS double damage at 11:59 a.m. ET, $17,657.33 ripped from Ravi Kiran Goli. The basement is in free fall.
The leveraged unwind continues. At 11:58 a.m. ET, SQQ Calc accounts for a $1,035 decline for Chidambara Raja, compounding prior TQQ stress and widening structural damage.
At 12 p.m. ET, Varaprasad Goli sits last with a cumulative tournament loss of $2,085.68. Prize pool pays the top three. Gravity pays everyone else.
Amazon detonates again at 12:03 p.m. ETAM Zen, blasts $1,042.22 into Abhijit Kaktikar's stack. That is a turbo boost, straight up the elevator.
As of 12:04 p.m. ET, Abhijit Kaktikar stands at $3,343 in cumulative tournament profit, reinforcing his third-place position and narrowing the structural gap to second.
And LLY piled on at 12:02 p.m. ET with another $1,318.25 in losses. It's a red combo chain on Niraj Arora.
Screaming QQ strikes at 12:03 p.m. ET, $11,105 vaporized from Roshan. Rob Palin, the inverse beast shows no mercy.
Concurrently at 12:03 p.m. ET, SQQ counts for a $9,975 decline for Chidambara Raja, compounding earlier leveraged exposure and intensifying his cumulative tournament deficit.
Gasping KRUS at 12:01 p.m. ET just obliterates $17777 from Ravi Kirangoli. That ticker is a boss fight. He keeps requeuing.
But the throne still glows. Goldie Gold leads the breakout with $6,713.50 in cumulative profit, untouched at the top of the elevator.
Lucas Marin holds second overall at $4,721.33 cumulative. Comfortable, but Abhijit Kaktikar is heating up behind him.
It is a three-way collision in the breakout. Anusha 25_12 versus Rahul _ versus Kapo Man, and the gap is real.
As of 12:08 p.m. ET, Anusha 25_12 holds $12266, Rahul stands at $2572, and Kapoor Man at $327, a clear rank 3 versus rank 19 versus rank 7 separation.
Gasping, but look at the momentum. Rahul added $1,431 on the session, while Kapoor Man added $322.5 by 12:08 p.m. ET. That's acceleration versus baby steps.
At 12:05 p.m. ET AMZ, detonated for $10398 in profit for Anusha 25_12. That is a leaderboard missile.
Risk posture is fascinating. Anusha 25_12 shows $12266, entirely unrealized at 12:08 p.m. ET, while Rahul and Kapoor Man have fully realized their $2572 and $327 respectively.
Groaning. Anusha 25_12 peaked at $12854 before settling at $12266 by 12:08 p.m. ET, while Kapoor Man clawed from a negative 125.5 trough up to 327 different leagues of volatility.
From trough to current, Anusha 25 underscore 12 rebounded from 10023 to 1226, $6 by 12:08 p.m. ET, whereas Rahul underscore advanced from 1141 to 2572, both improving, different scales.
Rahul underscore at rank 19 is fully realized at $25.72 as of 12:08 p.m. ET. Clean book, no floating risk.
Copper Man stands rank 7 with $327 locked in at 12:08 p.m. ET. Small stack, but alive.
Strategically, this is conviction versus closure versus calibration. Anusha 25 underscore
And share
12,
flow favored
floating
chaos. Kaporman doubled
12266.
Rahul underscore in
Rahul
shares traded
underscore
400
banking
to 200 by 12:08
2572.
p.m. ET.
Copperman banking 327, all measured at 12:08 p.m. ET.
Groaning. The Delta tells a story. Rahul underscore added $14.31 while Anusha 25 underscore 12 added 12.41 by 12:08 p.m. ET. So the chaser is actually accelerating faster.
With 3 hours and 52 minutes left in the session, Anusha 25 underscore 12 leads this trio at $12,266. Rahul underscore pursues at 2572, and Kapoorman trails at 327 as of 12:08 p.m. ET.
Two hours and 42 minutes in, and Goldie Gold still commands the summit with $6,713.50 in cumulative tournament profit. The throne is holding.
Twelve ten p.m. ET AM Zen detonates for $10462 for Abhijit Kaktikar. That is a green shockwave blasting him to $3,478 in total tournament profit.
As of 12:12 p.m. ET, he is sitting on $12,109 on the day. Sometimes one clean megacap trade does more than 100 revenge clicks.
At 12:11 p.m. ET, SQQ rips $10135 out of Chidambara Raja. The inverse blade cuts deep.
That sequence leaves Chidambara Raja at negative $3,623.50 cumulatively, reinforcing his position in the lower decile of the leaderboard.
At 12:09 p.m. ET, PNW drops $8,966.03 on Varaprasad Goli, and by 12:11 p.m. ET, TDC slices another $909.09. The basement is shaking.
At 12:10 p.m. ET, APP knocks $1,723.85 out of Keshav Geek. No bounce, just gravity.
And at 12:11 p.m. ETSQQ claws another $521.50 from Chinoki Varma Dasetti. The leverage storm will not calm. The top three remain Goldie Gold, Lucas Marin, and Abhijit Kaktikar, but beneath them leveraged ETFs are detonating accounts, and the $1,000 first prize is still very much in play. 2 hours and 46 minutes in, and Goldie Gold still commands the breakout with $6,713.50 in cumulative tournament profit. The throne remains untouched.
At 12:15 p.m. ET, AMZ detonates for $10384 for a Bijit Kakti car. That is a vertical launch straight into the clouds.
And at 12:15 p.m. ET, MSFT quietly stacks another $1778 for a BG Kakti car. Blue chips paying rent on time.
Those twin strikes reinforce his third place standing at $3,587 in total tournament profit. He is stalking Lucas Marin with intent.
Screaming. At 12:14 p.m. ET, SQQ rips $10115 out of Chidambara Raja. That hedge just turned into a shredder.
Pair that with the $6,135 hit on TQQ at 12:14 p.m. ET, and you get negative $3,603.50 for the tournament. That's what double leverage feels like.
Gasping fast again at 12:15 p.m. ET, negative $3,835 for Niraj Arora. That ticker is living up to its name on the downside.
Add the earlier LOI damage and Niraj Arora now sits at negative $5,421.05 for the tournament. Momentum cuts both ways.
And at 12:12 p.m. ETPNW slams Varaprasad Goli for $8,946.60. The basement just got a new floor. Two hours and 50 minutes in, and Goldie Gold still commands the breakout with $6,713.50 in cumulative tournament profit. The throne is intact.
Screaming. At 12:19 p.m. ET, AMZN detonates for $10412 for Abhijit Kaktikar. That is a blue chip rocket, and he is blasting through the mid-table.
And at 12:19 p.m. ET, MSFT chips in another $1804. That's stacking quality. Now $3,910 in total tournament profit and parked in third.
PNW strikes again at 12:19 p.m. ET, negative $8,910.53 for Varaprasad Goli. That is a volatility avalanche.
Gasping. Fast is not fast enough. At 12:19 p.m. ET, it rips $3,975 from Niraj Arora. That ticker is a trapdoor.
Groaning. Add the $1,596.25 drop on LOY at 12:19 p.m. ET, and Niraj Arora sinks to negative $5,691.05 for the tournament. That's a rough tape.
The inverse carnage continues. At 12:18 p.m. ET, SQQ slices $10155 from Chidambara Raja. Leverage chaos unleashed.
At 12:18 p.m. ET, SQQQ absolutely crushes Roshan R. Palan for $11285. That is a red supernova.
Sighing helps explain the negative $3,636 tournament standing. When you dance with triple leverage, sometimes it leads.
$12:24 p.m. in New York, and Goldie Gold still rules the breakout with $6,713.50 in cumulative tournament profit. The throne is shaking, but it is not surrendering.
At 12:22 p.m. ET, AMZN absolutely nukes the ceiling. $10734 added for Abhijit Kaktikar. That is a blue chip rocket strapped to rank 3.
And as of 12:24 p.m. ET, that leaves Abhijit Kaktikar at $3,929 in cumulative tournament profit. One clean strike and he is breathing down Lucas Marin's neck.
At 12:23 p.m. ET, PNW detonates for negative $8,660.78 on Varaprasad Goli, another red shockwave through the basement ranks.
Also at 12:23 p.m. ET, SQQ drains $10355 from Chidambara Raja, and TQQ piles on another $6,315. That's not hedging, that's doubling down on chaos.
Fast strikes at 12:23 p.m. ET, negative $3,950 for Niraj Arora. The tape is ruthless, and it does not forgive hesitation.
High AP slips again at 12:23 p.m. ET for negative $1,864.95 on Keshav Geek. Momentum names giveth, and they yank it back harder.
As of 12:24 p.m. ET, Varaprasad Goli's cumulative tournament performance sits at negative $2,093.89, statistically the deepest drawdown in the field.
2 hours and 54 minutes down, 3 hours and 36 to go. The elevator division is buckling under leverage, and we are nowhere near the closing bell.
Two hours and 58 minutes into the breakout, and Goldie Gold still reigns with $6,713.50 in total tournament profit. The throne is steady, but the floor is lava.
At 12:26 p.m. ET, MSFT just slapped another $1,951 onto Abhijit Kaktikar. He is up to $12,667 on the day and hunting from rank 3.
At 12:26 p.m. ET, TSLA adds $396.25 for Harsh Goyal. Not flashy, just disciplined green, keeping him inside the top 5.
At 12:27 p.m. ET, SQQ rips another $10515 out of Chidambara Raja. The inverse storm will not stop.
At 12:27 p.m. ET, SQQ trains $11645 from Roshan. Our Palan tournament total now negative 3,896. Sometimes the hedge becomes the hammer.
At 12:27 p.m. ET, APL slices down $2813.85 for Lakan Gosali. The apple just turned rotten.
At 12:27 p.m. ET, LLY bleeds another $1,560.25 for Niraj Arora. That is how a red day compounds into a red tournament.
Meanwhile, the podium fight is alive. Abhijit Kaktikar sits on $4,002 in total tournament profit, staring down Lucas Marin with 3.5 hours left to flip this script. Fast just ripped $4,195 out of Niraj Arora at 12:32 p.m. ET. That is a vertical plunge on the midboard.
At 12:32 p.m. ET, Karu S detonates for $17,152.83 against Ravi Kiran Goli. That's not volatility, that's a margin call audition.
Gaspin W slices another $8,366.63 from Varaprasad Goli at 12:32 p.m. ET. That chart is a cliff dive.
Another SQQ shockwave, $11,865 gone for Roshan. Rob Palin at 12:32 p.m. ET. The inverse rocket is exploding on the launch pad.
Microsoft strikes again. At 12:32 p.m. ET, MSFT prints $2085 for Abhijit Kaktikar. That's jet fuel into third place.
At 12:32 p.m. ET, TSLA contributes $657.50 to Harsh Goyal, a measured gain that stabilizes his upper mid leaderboard posture.
Leaderboard check. Goldie Gold still reigns with $6,713.50 in total tournament profit. Lucas Marin chasing at $4,721.33, and Abhijit Kaktikar surging behind them at $4,316.
Gasping slams Keshav Geek for $2039.20 at 12:32 p.m. ET. That ticker is swinging like a wrecking ball.
That to 32 p.m. ET, AAPL declines $29.52.30 for Lekangur Sali, reinforcing a persistent drawdown profile in the lower ranks.
At 12:33 p.m. ET, MSFT pumps $2044 into Abhijit Kaktikar. The rank 3 contender is stacking green like a podium architect.
Statistically speaking, Abhijit Kaktikar now holds $4,139 in cumulative tournament profit, firmly third and compressing the distance to Lucas Marin in second.
Also at 12:35 p.m. ET, KRUS detonates for -$1,692.03 on Ravi Kiran Goli. That is a volatility spike straight to the basement.
At 12:34 p.m. ETSQQ slices $10625 from Chidambara Raja. Leverage inverse, maximum punishment.
And at 12:34 p.m. ET, drops another $6,515 on the same account, hedged both ways, still bleeding.
Bright spot at 12:34 p.m. ET. TSLA adds $480 for Harsh Goyal, a clean green jab from rank 4.
Despite the turbulence below, Goldie Gold maintains first place with $6,713.50 in cumulative tournament profit, a stable summit amid chaos.
Leaderboard tension. Varaprasad Goli sinks to $19,228.64 negative in cumulative tournament profit. The floor is cracking in 30th place. At 12:39 p.m. ET AMSN, erupts again for $10,690 for Abhijit Kaktakar. That is a late game power spike, shaking the entire tower.
The compounding is material. As of 12:40 p.m. ET, Abhijit Kaktikar holds $3,955 in cumulative tournament profit, reinforcing third place and mathematically compressing the gap to Lucas Marin in second.
It gets worse. At 12:39 p.m. ET, KRUS detonates $17017.97 from Ravi Kirangoli. The basement floor just gave out.
Also at 12:38 p.m. ET, SQQ prints -$11865 for Roshan. Arpalan. That's not hedging, that's hemorrhaging.
Through the volatility, Goldie Gold remains first overall with $6,713.50 in cumulative tournament profit, while Lucas Marin holds second at $4,721.33. The podium is stable but under visible stress.
Microsoft strikes again at 12:43 p.m. ET. MSFT prints $18.15 for Abhijit Kaktakar. The third place Titan is stacking green bricks.
Tech 12:44 p.m. ET. Abhijit Kaktakar shows $3,754 in cumulative tournament profit, structurally holding third and compressing the distance to Lucas Marin in second.
KRUS again at 12:43 p.m. ET. 1227 $2.72. Ripped from Varaprasad Goli. The floor is lava down there.
At 12:43 p.m. ET, QQQ slams Chidambara Raja for $6,405, and SQQQ drags another 10475 at the same minute. Hedge both ways, losing both ways.
TSLA sparks at 12:43 p.m. ET. $370 in profit for Harsh Goyal. Fourth place adds fuel to the engine.
Gatsby will not chill at 12:43 p.m. ET. It slices $12.14.70 from Keshav Geek. That ticker is slippery ice.
Despite the turbulence below, Goldie Gold retains first place overall with $6,713.50 in cumulative tournament profit, maintaining structural control of the prize pool trajectory.
Microsoft strikes again at 12:47 p.m. ET. MSFT pumps $18.47 in the Abhijit Kaktakar. The tech titan refuses to cool off.
Fast just nuked Niraj Arora again at 12:47 p.m. ET. That is negative $3,885. It is not fast money, it is fast pain.
Groaning. And LOY at 12:46 p.m. ET clips another $1462.75 from Niraj Arora. When two tickers line up like that, it is a structural problem.
Screaming QQ with the hammer at 12:46 p.m. ET. It rips $11775 out of Roshan. Rob Palin, that is a floor collapse.
The cumulative consequence is stark. Chidambara Raja now holds a negative $4,443.50 across the tournament, anchoring him at rank 26 overall.
KRUS again at 12:46 p.m. ET. $17872.11 gone for Ravi Kirangoli. The basement levels are flashing red.
Through the volatility, Goldie Gold remains first overall with $6,713.50 in cumulative tournament profit, maintaining strategic altitude.
Gaspil will not bounce at 12:47 p.m. ET. It tags Lakangur Sali for negative $2946.45. That chart is a trapdoor.